Good morning and welcome to this Sunday service of Unity of Bernie online for April 19th, 2020. I know we're getting used to this new reality of online church. I ask that you bear with me as this new reality continues to unfold. I'm so glad you're with us. I'm Reverend J. Mulkey. I'm the pastor at Unity of Bernie, and it's my pleasure to be with you this morning as we celebrate, and yes, celebrate new beginnings, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. I'm just so glad you're with us. One of the things that we do at Unity of Bernie is we repeat our statement of our mission statement, which is Unity of Bernie is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. And we do. This is a church that I hope that when this passes, that you will come and be part of the love that is there, as I call it, the house that love built. A wonderful congregation full of wonderful, dedicated, loving people. It's my honor and privilege to serve. I'd like to read the daily word and do it just a little differently. I love those daily words from the past. They mean so much to me because it shows that through the years and through the many challenges that we all face, that it truly came to pass, not to stay. And I look at this daily word from April 1981, April the 19th. I know it's a little unusual, but it spoke to me to read this and put this in your mind for you to think about some years past. This was Easter, April 19th, 1981. It says, Easter joy rings like a bell in my mind and heart today. The message of Easter is a message of life eternal, a message of joy. Now, in the glorious celebration of the resurrection of Jesus, we strengthen our faith in his words. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me will also do the works that I do. The resurrection is for us. If we believe that our body is the temple of the living God, we shall follow Jesus in the resurrection, said Charles Fillmore. Let us reaffirm our belief in everlasting life. As we do so, the stones of doubt and fear are rolled away. Our faith rises like the sun in the clear morning sky, the Easter's morning dawning. There is a center within each of us where we know that life continues, unfolds, and progresses. At Easter, we are renewed and strengthened in our belief in the resurrecting spirit within us. The scripture reading is from 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 8. Without having seen him, you love him. Though you do not now see him, you believe in him and rejoice with unutterable and exalted joy. It may seem unusual to talk about joy at a time like this, but I believe and have said in the past that this situation that we're going through right now represents a world waiting to be born. And as we have to adjust our schedules, our lives, our errands, the things that we always took for granted that we did on a normal basis, we can go within and see what questions this particular situation is asking of us. You see, the outer things, the things that we do as in a normal course of events, the roles we play, whether we're father, mother, daughter, son, worker, co-worker. All these things provide an idea in form of who we are. But I think a time like this, where we have to take a step back and realize that we can't do all these things right now, calls on us to ask the fundamental question about who we are inside and what this new world that we occupy, not outside us, not only there, but the one that I believe is in each one of us. You see, I've always believed that life is an individual proposition. and that collectively we will do more for healing the planet than we can do alone. And right now, this planet is in need of healing, of fear, anxiety, worry, upset, all the things that we feel have come against us or come to us to be dealt with. You know, in the King James Bible, King Solomon has an advisor, and he asked an advisor for a piece of wisdom. And that was funny to me when I read that first time, because everybody thinks of King Solomon as being so wise. Well, he had advisors that he would ask questions of. And one of the things that he asked one of his trusted advisors was, when I get too happy, I need to be reminded that times can be challenging. And in challenging times, I need to be reminded that everything can be good again. And I'm paraphrasing. What advice do you have for me? And the advisor gave him a ring. And on that ring, it said, this too shall pass. And right now, we know that this situation will pass. It's part of the world of form. The world of form is constantly changing. It's not an eternal verity or truth about who we are. You see, the truth resides in each one of us, and we go out in a collective stream of thought, and by our dominant thoughts, we enter into the stream of others' thoughts. That's why prayer, united prayer, collective prayer, kind of prayer that unity has, silent unity, that the light that shines for you every day and night continues. The kind of prayer that is uttered in churches, temples, mosques, synagogues, united massed prayer. But really, what is it but an individual exclamation amidst the collective? So you see, we are very powerful individually, because in us we set the course for our lives. We set we take the things that we want and we outpicture them. We see them first and they're outpictured. And the things that we don't want, we affirm, or in some cases we deny their appearances. We affirm their opposite. Right now, I'm saying we need to affirm the fact that collectively we're asked to be agents of healing in this new world. And we're also asked to deny any idea that this could separate us in any way from the love of God, from God's own magnificent and munificent power. You know, I think that in form, as we all are, we tend to forget the wonderful, beautiful, divine sparks of love we are. Life, as I said before, can be so daily, and right now it can be so anxiety-ridden and fear-ridden that we really have a hard time remembering who and whose we are. Today I'd like to talk to you about the idea of all together now. All together being the idea that we are all members of the human family, and we all have our part to play. And we do this, hopefully, with the greatest amount of love, compassion, and understanding. First for ourselves, because that's where it has to come from to be real, and then given to other people. You know, when we have to sit back from the things that we don't like, or the things that we feel like we have to endure, as I said, this can be very, very growth enhancing for us. Because once you get past the internal chatter that says, I don't like it, I don't want this, I want to be out, I want to be doing these things, I want life like it was before, I want what was normal. And when we know that that can't be right now, then when we can go beyond that internal negative dialogue into a deeper communication with ourselves about our intention. And I have said throughout the time that I've had in ministry, intention means everything. Intention sets the course for your life. The last of human freedoms, as it said is the freedom to think what you want in any given circumstance. I don't usually get personal in these kind of messages, but this is something that has been a thing that I did this week that to me brought home the truth of what I'm saying. You see, this situation has sort of piled up on all of us, and I am no exception. And I had to go to a certain place that I love to go and be very quiet and visit there, not just one day, but I did it in a series of days where I got quiet and I listened, and I wanted to hear the message that Spirit, God, had for me amidst all this. What was it that I felt like I was supposed to learn? What is it that we are all supposed to learn through this? And as I spent that quiet time in nature, as I kind of recharged and refreshed my batteries, so to speak, it came to me that beyond all appearances, and this is what truth teachers have said for hundreds of years, beyond all appearances that come and go in a world of seeming opposites, in a world where reality can be up for some, down for others, down for another group, and up for others. Amidst all this duality, there is one shining thing that is inside each one of us. That's the divine spark of love and truth, if we accept it and live it. It sounds almost hackneyed to say it because it's been said so many times before, but I think it says so much because it's true. You see, the only thing that we have unquestionable and unchallengeable control over is our minds. And then we have the unquestionable control of what comes out of our mouths. And what comes out of our mouths, first, it emanates from the feelings we have, what we're hearing. And I think that this situation for many, and including me for a short time, there was like a filter that came through my mind, and I would hear opposing things through this filter. It wasn't like a divine filter. It was just like this thing that caught everything and then dumped it on me. It didn't hold it back. So filter's probably not the best word, but it was like it would come to me in waves like, what are we going to do? What are we going to be after this? And then the part that I call the inner knower said, it becomes, this time will help us become what we are waiting to be. The world that I say is waiting to be born. We get to make the individual choice. We get to set an individual intention about how we choose to live and think. Thinking truly first. Think during this time. Is there any grievance that you have against yourself or anybody else, against this coronavirus, against anything in your past which may have brought, this thing now may have brought along with it? See, it's like walking across a carpet and absorbing static charges of negativity that we all have to release in order to reach out for the new, for the greater. I guess what I'm saying here is that I hope that all of us can take this opportunity to release all the lesser for the greater, to realize that love is the only real thing in a world that changes every day. Love is a constant. Love is who you are. And it can't be repeated enough. I think it can be repeated so often that we can get numb to it, but when we step back and realize what that really means, that we are God expressing in human form, and we are choice-making individuals, and by each individual choice we make, we're remaking our world, then we see how truly powerful we are. Thought is everything. Love behind and guiding those thoughts make everything wonderful. If we as a church and as a greater community at large can realize who we are during this time, what we are willing to become through this. In other words, as Desiderata says, to go placidly right now amidst the noise and haste. And remember that whether you know it or not, life is unfolding. The universe is unfolding just as it should. We don't understand why this is happening right now. I think for myself, it's a collective call for love, for healing our separateness, for healing the idea that we can do something to ourselves that won't affect our brother or our sister. You see, it always comes from here first. And that's why it's so important to allow new thought, to allow new ways of thinking to guide us into what we can become right now all together. It's said that we're much stronger together than we are apart. And that's true. But when we're apart, the thoughts that we choose to entertain, the ideas that we formulate about life and what's happening are so critical to being part of the solution. You see, I think there are multiple streams of thought that surround us all the time, rather like a radio station. Different radio stations, you can tune in to different frequencies. And I've often said that angry people tune into angry frequencies, and anxiety-ridden folks tune into anxiety-ridden frequencies, and loving people tune into loving frequencies. But really, there's only two, I would call it, cosmic radio stations: love and fear. And when you make a decision to tune into love, you're tuning into who you are, and you're tuning into the only force that has kept us going all these years. For without that, without love, without that is the very foundation lodestone of who we are, then we're really nothing. Scripture says that if I have everything but have not love, I'm as a sounding cymbal, just empty noise. And that's why I like to go back and help us remember, help myself remember who and whose I am. And I think during this time, the questions that we ask will, and the answers to that, will formulate the world that I say is waiting to be born all together. You see, there's one thing I think this has taught us, is that you can't choose up sides on a round planet. This particular entity called coronavirus has swept around the world, and it is no respecter of boundary, of distance, any of that. And I think it's here to teach us a lesson. And the lesson is that the things that we have set up by artifice that are to keep us from one another, our judgments, particularly our own internal conflicts that we project out into the world, these times are calling for us to go inside and heal those, to set a new course for ourselves, even in the midst of things that we wish would go away yesterday. I want you to know that I understand that. I've understood it in myself. I've grown through this in a way that I didn't think I would, because what happened was some of the negativity I noticed was beginning to creep slowly into me. And I realized I had to let that go, because I want to be part of the solution and not a part of the problem. I want to be part of showing the love that I am to everyone else. And I want you who are listening to be able to do the same thing, to show the love you are to everyone else. And again, I say it, you have to first do it inside. Life is a do-it-yourself project. You have to love yourself and accept yourself with all the shortcomings and wonders and all the things in the middle that entails, so that you can reach out and accept new life. You see, I think all together now, we'll face this world waiting to be born, and do it in a way that when this is over with, we'll find that we couldn't have gone on the way we were doing before. We'll see something that is so bright and so wonderful and so new that it's going to be exciting to be here for it. Yes, we have to take precautions right now. Yes, there's so many things that we have to do that interrupt our daily flow. But I believe the gift that this thing is going to give us is magnificent. I believe we're going to realize our oneness in a new and different way. You know, many people go to churches and temples and synagogues the world over, and I think sometimes we get the idea that in our church or in our place of worship is us and the rest is them. When we say prayers for world peace, we may utter them by rote, but we don't necessarily think about it going out into this great universal thought energy and connecting. We think for us and my life, and that's it. That's what I'm concerned about. Well, you see, I believe this is teaching us to be concerned about far more than what we go through. But when we process this and do it with love as the guide, then we'll find the truth that we'll never find our heart in a temple if there's not a temple in our heart. You see, a minister, pastor, teacher, they do nothing except draw forth in you what is already there. That may have been a hard statement about us, but I believe the proper function of any good minister or teacher is to help you and anybody remember who you are. The process of education comes from the Latin educare, which means to draw forth. That is what that's already there. There's nothing that I'm going to say that's new if it doesn't resonate inside you. And I believe that each one of you who tune into this today resonate with the idea of love being the best way, or are at least open to it. Open to the idea that who you are and who you have been, if that is unsatisfactory to you, can change through a process of asking the truth in you, the love in you, the God in you, to help you release those things that are not for your highest good, that are not for your soul's best expression. You can turn them loose and you can accept this new moment, this now moment. And really, what is this moment except an extension of many, many now moments throughout the last thousands and thousands of years? We call it time, but really there is no time. There's only now. And the moment we think we've got a hold on now, it slips through our hands into another now. It's the eternal present. It's called the present for a reason. I believe it's a gift. And I believe the gift is the ability to reach out and grab this new life. And I'm excited about it. I got excited about it when I left that place that I go to I say, recharge my batteries. I walked a little differently. I thought differently. I came back talking differently. And I started writing some things that had kind of been bottled up inside me. I'm asking you all to get excited, not just to forgive those things and choose another way of looking at things, but to get excited about this world that's waiting to be born. That phrase keeps coming to me because I believe that out of this old, encrusted way will emerge something that's new, wonderful, and beautiful. Perhaps a new cooperation with each other, a new appreciation, a new love that circles the globe in a way that a virus never could. The love that each of us will feel for each other, the way we interact from now on. I believe that's waiting to be born, especially in our particular country where it seems like we're so divided, one against the other, political ways, in opinions, all these things that we have kind of set against one another. I believe these things can be transmuted into something wonderful, something that all of us will be better for having gone through. It's always a decision. It's always a decision in favor of yourself. And one of the things that I go back to that, some people may say, well, it doesn't sound very spiritual, but it's part of 3 rules that I've always, since I've learned about them, thought were very important. The first one is don't hurt yourself and don't hurt others. The second one is take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And the third one is use everything for your upliftment, advancement, and growth. Those 3 rules, and I use rules, you can be fluid with it, suggestions, ideas. Those 3 things, I think, even for a person who is irreligious, non-spiritual, comprise the basics of a good life. And whether you're new on the path or whether you're advanced, those 3 ideas, to me, still seem germane. They still seem like they're going to be, they were good years ago, they're good now, and they'll be good for years to come. I could say it as it said in Scripture, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. And on this hang all the law and the prophets. Now you see, the more that we line up with the good, the pure, the powerful, and the positive, the better all of us are. The better we are for ourselves, the better neighbors we are. And I believe the quicker we'll see this situation evaporate or melt under the light of our collective love and truth. I'm calling on each one of you to give love to this hurting world, no matter where you are or what you do, to send thoughts and prayers that are full of love, understanding, acceptance, that are willing to reach across our own ideas, our own, certainties, and mix with others of a like mind that take the currents of love and expand it, and tuning out of what the radio station I call FEAR. The radio station LOVE is much better. I know that's kind of a silly comparison, but I hope that in its silliness it sticks in your mind, that you remember there are 2 ways that you can live this life. Living with love as the guiding principle of your life is the way that works. And I think we know that down deep. I believe sometimes we just have to be reminded of it. I wanted to kind of extend Easter past where it was last week to now, because I think we all need the idea of a fresh beginning. And the resurrection was God's great yes. The resurrection was that all the negativity and what we call the evil and the lower had to give way to the beautiful light, that life always overcomes, even death itself. That's, to me, the greatest message of Easter, and that we are Easter people year-round, and that we are loved, and we express that love for ourselves and for each other right now and every day after this. And that new world waiting to be born will be a wonderful one. I give thanks that you're here today. I hope that you'll come and join us at Unity of Bernie when we can assemble again together safely. We're located at 121 Scenic Loop Road, Bernie, Texas. We have a book discussion at 9:30 and a worship service at 11 o'clock. I invite you to join us. I would also ask that you remember that we exist through your tithes and offerings, and that you would prayerfully consider a gift to us through PayPal, bit.me/Unity of Bernie, BOERNE. And for those who have given gifts, I appreciate it. Unity of Bernie appreciates it so much. And we ask that you continue to remember us. And at this time in our service, after the message is finished, we take our offerings in our hands. And if we don't have a particular offering at that time, we just clasp our hands, or we sit prayerfully, quietly in our seat. But we can take the gift that we are, or we can take our monetary gift, whatever it is that we represent it by having it in our hands. And we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessing and my love. We also like to recite the wonderful prayer for protection that the great Unity minister, Reverend James Dillett Freeman, wrote. And it is, the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. I hope you'll join me for a moment of prayer. O infinite presence, we thank you for this moment to reflect and remember who we are. We know and affirm that you are with us, guiding us and loving us through all apparent challenges, even through all appearances that would say otherwise about us and our life. We know that you are still God, and your truth is still our truth, and your love is still our love. We give thanks for the ability to join together in this moment, at this time, to be part of a solution, to be part of the world waiting to be born with love that encircles us and our world. Thank you for being our guide and our way shower, and so it is. Thank you for joining me this Sunday. I look forward to seeing you next week, and what we're going to do is continue, I believe, one of the things I'd like to do is continue on this idea of healing ourselves and healing our world. God bless each and every one of you, and thank you.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.